Hi, my name is Mr. Ablett. I'm going to be your new band teacher for this year. This is a video all about the bass, how to put it together, how to hold it, how to make your first few notes. You're listening right now to a little bit of one of my favorite bass players. His name is Victor Wooten, and I thought it would be a nice introduction to hear a great bass player at the beginning. So I'm just going to turn that down for now. If you don't have your bass, go ahead and grab yours right now. And we're going to go through a whole bunch of information about the bass. You can watch this video as many times as you need to so that you can access all the information that's here. There's going to be a lot of it. Okay, so let's start off with just some fundamentals about the bass. So if I'm talking about your instrument in class and I refer to, excuse me, a different part of the bass, you'll be able to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is my bass. This is the body of the bass down here. Okay, and this is the bridge. These are the pickups. Mine only have one set of pickups here. This is called a P bass or a precision bass setup. Some basses have two sets of pickups, one sort of up here towards the fingerboard and one a little bit further back. And that's called a jazz bass. And you might have rented one of those. Both are okay. Okay, I have a couple of knobs down here. So this one is my volume knob. The one that's closest to the pickups would be the how much sound I send from these pickups to my amplifier. Okay, and I'm going to turn that one all the way up to 10. And this one is tone. And I'm going to fiddle with this one after I plug my bass in, and we'll find a nice, sweet sound. But I'll put it at about 50%. You can find all the way forward, that's probably too bright, all the way back, that's probably too dark, so I'm going to find a spot kind of in the middle. Now, if you have a bass that has two sets of pickups, you're going to have a volume knob for each of those pickups. So you'll have 3 volume knobs. It'll be volume, volume, tone. Some basses even have more knobs than that, and it depends on what kind of bass you get, okay? Most basses that we're going to be renting for elementary band are going to have 4 strings, although other basses have more than that, okay? But most basses just have 4. Okay, so here's the neck of the bass and the fingerboard. I took the strap off my neck so I could show you what the headstock looks like. So this whole assembly is called the headstock, and these are the tuners. And there's 4 tuners. And I have my electronic tuner on here, and I'm going to show you how to use that. Such an important piece of gear. If you don't have one, I highly recommend that you go and, they're not that much, 10 or 20 bucks, and you can get a really nice electronic tuner, and they're absolutely essential for being in band, okay? I also always play with a neck strap because sometimes I stand up, sometimes I sit down. In performance, I love it when bass players stand so that everybody can see you. People want to see you play your instruments as well as hear you. So that's a really cool thing to do. You can stand up with the percussion in the back and be the cool kids in the room. I love it, okay? Yeah, so how to set it up. There is a jack in the bottom of the bass. Okay, it might be like right here on the bass, depends on the model. Mine is on the very bottom there. And you'll use your patch cord to plug it into the amplifier. I'll talk about the amplifier in just a minute. But one of the things that I love to do is to, when I'm at the store, I spend 25 cents or however much these things cost, and I get these little Velcro straps. Okay, and the Velcro strap actually attaches to the patch cord, and then I can keep this from being a bird's nest in my case all the time. I hate that. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it into the amplifier, making sure that I plug it into the part that says input. Most amplifiers have a headphone jack as well, and there'll probably be a little headphone icon. Now, here's another trick. Go in behind the strap with your patch cord, and then plug into the bass. That way, if you step on your patch cord, it's not going to damage the jack on the bass. Smart, right? Also, before I turn the amplifier on, there is a little nut which goes around the input jack. Because your instrument vibrates, it's likely at some point this year that nut is going to start backing out because it's a vibrating instrument. Just make sure when you put the instrument away, you give that one a little bit of a, just snug it up a little bit. Okay, we don't want that to come undone because then your bass doesn't work and then you can't be playing in band with all your friends. Okay, so that's basically how the bass is set up. Let's talk about the amplifier now. All amplifiers are a little bit different. I think I'll take my bass off. And actually, while I'm taking my bass off, this is a good opportunity for me to talk about how to put your instrument down. Please don't drop your instrument. It seems like a dumb thing to say in an instructional video, but I see it happen almost every day at the beginning of band, where instruments are getting damaged because we don't know how to look after them. So I have got an instrument stand, this cool little thing, which folds up inside inside my gear that I bring to class. And so this is going to hold up my instrument. So I'm going to put it on my stand. But you probably don't have one of those stands at the very beginning of your bass playing career. So what do? Do you lean it up against the wall or your chair, or do you give it to your stand partner? The best thing to do is to just lay it on the floor. That way it can't fall, okay? So when you always turn the volume off so that it's not going to be singing along with the band and you're not there to stop it going, hey, quiet. So you turn the volume off so it doesn't make any sound, and then you carefully lay it on the ground, okay? Unless you have an instrument stand, in which case, good for you, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the amplifier. I've got my amp right here, and this is what mine looks like. Like I said, all amps are going to look a little bit different. So my input jack is right here. The headphone jack looks exactly the same, except it's got a little headphone icon right there. So you can tell that that's not the right jack. So you're going to plug your instrument into the part that says input. This amplifier, it's a really nice amp. I'm really lucky to have it. It has just a single volume knob here, and then it's got bass, mid, and treble. Okay, so treble is the high sound, bass is the low sound, and mid is the middle sound. Pretty easy to understand. So I can equalize, that's called an EQ, those three knobs, and I can change the tone of my bass, just like the tone knob. This one has 3 bandwidths, so it's a little bit more specific. If I want it to sound big and fat and funky, I can sort of dial out the middle just a little bit. So I don't put the middle at like 12 o'clock. I put it just maybe at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, right? And then I leave the others at 12. Or if I really want a fat sound, maybe I put my bass knob at 2, so it sounds really big and beefy, right? Or if I want it to sound super light and just really, really thin, and maybe I'm playing something really high on the bass, I'll turn the treble up, but I rarely do that. Most of the time you turn up the bass on a bass, it's just the way it is. So I'm gonna plug my instrument back in here, push it in all the way. Put my instrument back on my shoulders here. And there we go, I'm ready to play. So I'm going to turn the amplifier on. All right, so we've got good sound. It's not making a crackling sound or anything like that. We can troubleshoot those problems if they come up. But that's a common thing, that you get sort of this crackly weirdness when you first start off, or you don't get any sound at all. Just check and make sure that your amplifier has power, that you're plugged into the right spots, and you've got, sometimes there's extra knobs that just make it difficult. Like sometimes there's a knob called gain. Okay, so just put the gain at about, I don't know, about 5, okay, about halfway, and then slowly turn your volume knob up, making sure that the knob on your instrument that is also volume is turned up 100%. So the instrument, 100%. The amplifier, you start at about 5, and then you adjust from there. Okay, we want to make sure that we can hear you really well in the band, but we don't want to have the instrument or the amplifier turned up to 10 and go, right? That would just ruin everybody's day. Okay, so hopefully that explains all the knobs on your bass and on your amplifier. If you have other features on your instrument, let me know and I'll try and explain them in the first couple of weeks of band. All right, hand position. So let's start with this. The left hand, I want you to take your thumb and I want you to put it right on the back of the neck so that I can't see it. I don't want to see your thumb poking up on top like that, like a little puppet show. I want it in behind on the back of the neck, just like that. Okay, and then underneath there should be a big space in the palm of your hand, okay? And then your fingers go on the frets. Okay, so it's 1 finger per fret. So you can see how my fingers line up. 1, 2, 3, 4, not one and squeezing your hand together because it's just really hard to push the string down. Or sometimes I see this, trying to push those heavy strings down. Learning to play the bass is going to take some muscle development. Yeah, it's going to take a while. That's okay. So for the beginning, I want you to put your hand all the way down at the end near this part of the bass. I didn't talk about this part of the bass. This is called the nut. Okay, this little plastic or bone thing right near the headstock where the strings start their vibration. I want you to put your finger right there on the first fret. All of these squares are called frets. Okay, so our first finger goes there, second finger goes on the second fret, third finger on the third fret, fourth finger on the fourth fret. Now, your right hand is totally relaxed. It just sits on the back of the bass, just like that. I rest my forearm on the back of the bass and my hand dangles over the bass like that. Now, what I do with the right hand is that I anchor my thumb on something. Your choice as to what you would like to anchor it on, what's going to work best for you. Pardon me. There's some bass players, most bass players, I would say, would anchor their thumb on the string that they're not playing. Okay? So I'm going to anchor it on the big string here, and then I'm going to play this string. Or I can anchor it on that string and play the one just below it. Or I can anchor it on the third string. And I'm not doing anything with my left hand. I'm just letting the strings vibrate down there. But what do you do on the bottom string? Do you just let your hand float? Well, you can. It's just really difficult. So you probably want to be anchoring your thumb on something. So you can anchor it on the pickups if you want to. I've seen some guys anchor it on the fingerboard if they want to play all the way up here. That creates a certain sound on the bass, which is different than playing near the bridge. Okay, so if I play all the way up here with my fingers anchored there, it makes a nice dark sound. But if I play all the way back here, it makes a brighter, funkier sound. Yeah, so there's so many different options on how to make sound on a bass and how to control the different musical expressions that you're going to create with this thing. Okay, so anchor your thumb on something, be it a string, a pickup, the fretboard, on something. Okay, some guys, even if you have what's called a pick guard, a plastic protector that goes all the way around this part of the bass, you can anchor your thumb on that too. Okay, all right, let's move along. How to tune your bass. The very first thing I would like you to do is to memorize the names of the strings on your bass. Super important. There's only 4 strings. Let's memorize them today. It's not hard to memorize 4 letters. The names of the strings are E, A, D, G. Say it with me. I know it's dumb to speak along with a video, but do it just because I asked you to, okay? I know it's dumb. Do it anyways. E, A, D, G. E, A, D, G. If you want to come up with a sentence which helps you remember the names of the letters, great, do that. There's a whole bunch of different ones you can use. Elephants always do good, I think is one of them. You make up your own, okay? If that helps you remember, then great, okay? But it's your job to know the names of your strings on the bass. E, A, D, G. Okay, so the first string is E. That's this string right here. Now, every time you put your instrument in its case, it's going to turn the tuners on the bass. Every time you take your bass outside, where it's cooler than inside a room or in the summertime or whatever, the temperature is going to affect the tuning on your bass. Everything is going to change the tuning on your bass all the time. And you have to keep it in tune. So that's why I have my electronic tuner all set up right there. Okay, let's see if I can get this thing working properly. There we go. Okay. Now, first of all, you have to recognize the name of the note that the tuner is recognizing. So it's telling me that I'm playing an E. But if I go here, it says D sharp. And it says an out of tune D sharp at that. So I have to make sure that it says E. So I'm going to turn the tuner. It's an in tune D sharp, but that doesn't help me. It's the wrong note. sharp, D sharp. Oh, there's a flat E. So now I'm getting close. Almost. And my tuner turns green when it's in tune. Now, you have to be very careful to recognize that you're turning the right tuner. So see how this string goes right into this tuner? So I have to turn this tuner to affect the tuning on that string. That makes sense. If I were tuning the instrument and turning the wrong tuner, that would be bad news. You can break a string doing that, so you gotta be careful. So let's try the other strings. Well, my A's a little sharp, huh? Oh, no, it was flat. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. There we go. Now, on the bass, I always scoop the pitch from the bottom. If your tuner is tuned, if the note is tuned too high, then just slack it off a little bit. You don't have to turn it 10 times, but turn it like that much. And then scoop it from the bottom until it's the right pitch. Here's the D. Oh, the D is pretty good. But let's say the D was too sharp. There, I've tuned it to the wrong note. Okay, so it came up green. Aren't I in tune? No, it's the wrong note. Look at the note on there. It says D sharp. So now, D sharp is higher than D. I'm going to drop it below D and approach it from the bottom. There we go. And then G, the G is in tune. Now, when I've done all 4 strings, I go through and do it a second time. Not bad. Good. My D string just a little bit sharp, I think. It's backwards on the camera, so it's hard for me to tell. There we go. So what can happen is that when you tune your bass, you tighten up the strings, it can actually, the strength of these steel strings will actually pull the neck in this direction, just a couple of millimeters, just a tiniest little bit. You won't even be able to see it, but the tuner will pick it up, because if the neck is pulled this way, it changes the tuning on the other strings, doesn't it? Changes the amount of tension on the strings, and that changes what pitch they vibrate at. So tune it twice before you start class. You'll get really fast at it, okay? It's not gonna be a big deal. You're just gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm in tune, good. It'll take like 30 seconds after you practice it for a little while. Okay, no problem whatsoever. All right, the next part, plucking the strings, making our first sound. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start on an open D string, this string right here. I'm gonna anchor my thumb on the A string, or maybe the E string if you wanna do that, that's up to you. Okay, and I'm gonna use no left hand whatsoever. See, I'll just hold my hand right here so you can see. And we're gonna practice plucking the strings together. So I'm gonna play a rhythm, and you're gonna see my fingers just do this, right? Just like it's a little person walking. That's all you have to do. We don't go like this and sort of like we're a monkey and we're scratching ourselves, you know? We don't pluck the strings like that. We pluck the strings with straight fingers like that. Okay, so anchor your thumb, find the D string, and I'll go first and you repeat after me. Your turn. Boom, boom, boom. Good. Now let's switch to the G string. That's the thinnest string that's on the lowest, closest to the ground. Go. Okay, makes sense so far? Let's try the A string. Which one's the A string? Second thickest, okay? Here we go. So I'm gonna anchor my thumb on the E string, and I'm gonna play on the A string. Ready? First me, then you. Now let's practice playing the E string, anchoring my thumb on the pickups. Good. Okay, now you've learned how to play different notes on different strings. Let's learn the actual notes that we're going to be playing in band. We're going to play our first song today too. How cool is that? One day on the bass, you're already making songs. So we're going to learn 3 notes: B flat, C, and D. Now there's a way that I talk about the fingering on the bass. It'll make sense after a little while. Once you know the names of the strings, all you have to do is count the number of frets. So B flat is the first note. That's how we say that bit of writing, B flat, okay? And on the staff, we read the bass clef, and it's the second line from the bottom. Now, how do you find that note on the bass? Well, all you have to do is play an open A, the open A string, and then we put our finger on the first fret, and it becomes B flat. There's A, there's B flat. So holding our hand in place, these fingers don't touch. This finger holds the string down, and your thumb stays on the back of the neck, never peeking up above here. Okay, be strong. Develop that strength in your left arm. Okay, and here we go. Good. Now let's play a C. C is our next note. And C is played on the same string as B flat. Same string, different fret. Okay? Remember, each one of these little squares is a fret. Okay? These little wires that are embedded in the neck, those are fret wires. Okay? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to keep my hand in the same spot, and I'm going to play it with this finger. Okay? Having big, strong hands. Your turn. All right, good job. Are you making a nice clear sound? Now let's play D. D is the next string, so it's open D. So I call it D0, no frets, right? Easy. So now let's practice moving between those 3 notes. Let's play D, C, B flat. It'll look like this. Watch my left hand. D, open, C, that's on the A string 3rd fret, and then B flat, A string 1st fret. B flat, C, D. Play B flat, C, D with me again. Ready? Go. B flat, C, D. Let's play D, C, B flat this time. D, C, B flat. All right, so if you can do that, you can play Mary Had a Little Lamb, which is our first song. I know, not the most exciting song in the world, but hey, we're playing a first song on our very first day of playing the bass. So cool. All right, here we go. Here we go. Mary Had a Little Lamb goes D, C, B flat, C, D. So it's just those 3 notes like we're walking up and down the stairs. Okay? Here we go. Play along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mary had a little lamb. Good job. C, C, C. D, D, D. D, C, B flat. D, C, B flat, C, C, D, C, B flat. All right, how did you do? If you were able to play along with me, boy, you're going to have a great year in band. If it didn't come out perfectly the first time, that's the way it is for musicians. That's why we practice. That's why we develop our skills over time. Okay, it's going to take some work. Not everybody is awesome. In fact, Nobody is perfect the first time they try a musical instrument. I can guarantee you that. Okay? All right, how to put the instrument away. First thing I would say is turn the amplifier off. Okay? So in band class, it's so easy to make all this kind of noise just by making very small motions with your hands. You have a mute button on your bass that the clarinets and the trumpets don't have. You can just roll your volume off and nobody can hear you if you make an accidental motion in the back. Now, we don't want to unplug our instrument while the amplifier is on because it's going to make a big ugly noise. So I'm going to turn the power off on my amplifier and then I unplug my instrument. And then I would normally put my instrument in its case, but I have my instrument stand out right now, so I'll do that. All right, now I'm going to show you how to look after your patch cord. Your patch cord, or your instrument cable, is so important, right? If it's broken, you're not going to be able to play in band, and that's the whole point of us doing this, right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hold on to the instrument cable and point the plug away from us. We're not going to hold it like that. We're going to hold it like that. Okay, now I'm going to take the cable in my hand and I'm going to turn it between my thumb and index finger and make a little circle. Okay, now I'm going to turn it so we don't end up with any figure eights, okay, like that. We don't want to end up like that. And we really don't want to take this instrument cable and wrap it around our arm. Oh man, that'll kill this instrument cable right away, okay? It'll break the little wires inside. And as soon as those break, it doesn't carry the signal anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to make little circles and we're going to look after our equipment because it's worth a lot of money and our moms and dads are renting it or we bought our instruments. And I've got my little Velcro strap here, so I'm going to wrap that around the cable. Yeah, we call them cables, not wires, right? It's just the words that we use. So you sound like a professional. Okay, awesome. You can take the tuner off the headstock and then put that inside your bass case if you want, or you can just leave it on the headstock as long as you make sure it doesn't get lost, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you're ever struggling at home when you're practicing or even during band class, it's so easy to try and hide in the back row and you have a very low sounding instrument, and if it doesn't sound perfect all the time, it's hard for me to tell up front exactly which bass player is always having the problem. I've got a lot of students in that class and everybody's making noise. So if you're having something going on in your head, you're thinking, boy, this is discouraging. I don't like this. I don't like the way I feel, the way I sound. Come and talk to me, okay? I'm a really nice guy and I'll help you as best that I can. And I've got a lot of experience that I want to share with you. And I want to make sure that band is fun for you. That's the whole point, isn't it? That we learn something and that we have fun doing it and we do it together. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. You have any questions, come and talk to me. And band's going to be a lot of fun this year. Okay, so I hope you had fun today. Watch this video again if you need more help. Happy practicing. Bye.